Hi guys, I'm just gonna give you a quick description about myself. My name is Miss Webster. I'm a 3D modeler slash VR artist. I've studied at London Metropolitan University, where I've studied games modeling, animation, and effects, which pretty much means dealing with 3D stuff as a computer artist. So I learned a lot about I used the software Autodesk Maya, which is an industry standard software. But um, I also use different software like Adobe Suite, Photoshop, and After Effects. So when you create your models and you try to make a show reel or video about what you've done, I use After Effects. I also did some sound in After Effects. So I did a lot of stuff. Now we're going to use TinkerCad so we can create 3D designs and learn a little bit more about the basics in 3D modeling. So we're gonna create a new design. We're clicking the button. We're gonna wait for it to load and do some more loading. Okay, here we go. So in this scene, there's nothing, only the work plane, and we can see a few stuff like our tools and stuff that we're going to use. So what the first step we're going to do is change the name, where we're going to put learning basics, and we can see there is different basic shapes. There's the work plane. We have a ruler, so you could drag and drop this into the scene. At the moment we're not going to use it, so we're just going to press the X to dismiss the ruler. And we have a drop down menu. We have different options. You can use basic shapes, text and numbers, characters, connectors, but we're just going to stick to basic shapes for today. And we have different shapes. You can scroll down, you can see, but we're just going to use the box, cylinder, and these four at the top at the moment. But we're just going to go into a little more about navigating around the scene, where we can use both mouse and keyboard to access that. Um, if you look at the screen, you can see there's a box at the top. We have top and front. This is an easy way of navigating by clicking on where you want to look at. So if you have a box, let's say we're going to put the box, grab and drag and drop in the scene, and we want to look at the top view, we click top. And we want to look at the front, we click front. And then we click here, we get the right, we get the front, and then we get the left. So we can navigate around the object using this box, or we could use the keyboard, where we could say control and the left mouse click, and then we could toggle around the screen, which makes it easy, whichever is easier for you. I find using the keyboard and mouse is easier because you have a bit more control. So we're going to do some more navigating around the scene and learning the functions. So we're looking under the box, and we can see that there's a home view, fit view to selected shapes, which is the letter F we were speaking about. We could zoom in, we could zoom out, and we can have a change of perspective. So what we're going to do is try the home view. We can see is the top view, a view that you can see the top. We can fit to focus on the entire object, so we can press this one. We could go closer to the shape, or we could go back, and we can click on the plus or the minus. So you zoom in, you can zoom out. So we're gonna switch to flat view, which is this view, or we can switch to perspective view. So you can switch it now. You can see the different perspective, And we could also do this by using control as mentioned before. So you can use control at the left button but on the mouse. So you can click and we go around. We can scroll in and out of the shape. And now we could add some, we can play around with the shape. So we could change the rotation, we could change the scaling of it. We could do a little bit more with it. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna make sure click on the shape, and we could either press F on the keyboard, or we could scroll in and out of the shape with the button in the middle of the mouse. So the scroll, we can scroll in and we can scroll out, or we could just press F. Okay, once we do that, we could spin around the shape, and we'll find when you click on the shape, you'll see different arrows. So we have different arrows, so we can rotate on this side, or we could do a lot of rotation. We could do rotation at the bottom. We could do a bit of scaling. And when you click on or you highlight the different parts of the shape, you can see the size. And when we rotate, we can see, let's scroll out a bit. We can see the angle. So right now, this is at 45 degrees angle. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna click back. Yeah. So now when we click on this, if we go this way, we can see the angle is changing. So we're on a 45 degrees angle, or we can have it on a 90 degrees. So I'm gonna just put it back on 45 degrees. And I'm gonna turn the camera so we can see the changes of it when I'm scaling it. So we can use this one and we could scale in different directions. So we can make it a bit thinner, or we can make it thicker. So we make sure that this is highlighted red. So you could go thinner, or we could do it a bit thicker, and we could change the size so you can push it back as well. So you can see the measurements here is 6.4 and we have 28. So we could toggle around the scene. And you can see we created a diamond. If you want to get it back to the shape it was, we just go back, highlight this, and pull. And then we could pull, and we could do some more with it. And if we want to move it, all we have to do is just click on it and just move it around the scene with the mouse, the left button mouse. Click, and you can see we will also see the measurement. So you can see it's minus 31 in the where it's positioned, and 14. So you can see we could change it up and around different parts of the scene. So what we're doing is we're playing around with the axis, which is the element that makes it 3D is the fact that it have 3 dimensions, which means that it have X, Y, and Z. So with 2D, you have only X and Y. The Z one will create the depth of the object. So it just gives it the 360 version of it. So that's where you get the 3D of it. So you can see when we go around, there's all around there is a shape. But with the 2D option, it will just be the X and Y. So you only see a flat shape as opposed to a 3D shape. So we're going to use the start and we're going to use the rotate function. So right at the moment, when you drag and drop the start on the scene, you can see that it's flat, but we want it to stand up. So we're going to use the rotate button. So I'm just going to turn a little bit. We're going to use this one here. So we can actually rotate it on a 90 degrees angle. Oops, 90 degrees. So now when we go to the front, we can see the star standing up. And we can pull it up, and we could use this. So we're going to try that one more time. So you're going to use the other star, drag and drop. We're going to turn it, a bit. So you can see this arrow, which have 0 degrees right now. So what we're going to do is change it to get the 90 degrees, and then we're just going to move it up with this arrow. So when you look at the 360, we can see that the stars are now standing. So before they were flat, like this. But when we use the rotate function, we make them like this. So I'll do that one more time. So we make sure get this arrow and we rotate under 90 degrees. You can rotate it on whichever angle you want to, whichever degrees. You could also do it on this side. You could change it wherever you like. And then we could just pull it up so it can be on top of the grid. Just gonna do it with this one as well. So I'm just gonna toggle a bit, rotate a different angle. Then I could do it this way. And then we could do it this way. Then pull it up. So when you look around the scene, you can see a bunch of stars on the scene. So what we could do as well is we could duplicate or make copies of the shapes. So if you want to add more stars to the scene on the same angle of the ones that are here already, what we could do is highlight all of the stars by dragging a box around them with the mouse, and we go into this function which duplicates and repeat our Control D. So you can press that, and then we can move it, and then we're going to create more stars. So I'll do that again. So we'll have highlight the stars, and then we go to this duplicate and repeat our Control D, and then we move them around the scene. Or if we want, we can go back. If you want to create using the shortcut on the keyboard, we can highlight all of the shapes of the stars and press Alt, hold on the button Alt, and the left button just drag. Then we're going to get more objects or shapes on the scene. So that's the way how you add more copies to the scene of the same objects. Instead of going and doing one individually, we could do it as copy, which is duplicate, so Control D, or we can use Alt on the keyboard and just use the left mouse, click, and then drag. So what we're going to do now is drag and drop some shapes onto the scene. So we're going to drag the box, the solid box, and we're going to drag the cylinder. So there's two options. We have solid. When you click on this, you can see it's highlighted as solid. And when you highlight this, this is whole. So the difference is one is see-through, which is this one, and one is solid, which is not see-through. So what we can do with the solid shape is change different colors. So you have different colors that you could change. And this one is the holes, is the one that we're going to use to make cutaways. It will be called wireframe, but we'll just say use the term within the box, transparent, the solid box. So what I'm gonna do first is scale it up a bit. And you can do it however you like. And then we're just gonna toggle around. You can go back if you want to. Press back or forward. And you're just gonna toggle around. It's a bit too big, so I'm just gonna scale it down a bit more. And okay. So I'm gonna move it within the solid shape, and I'm just gonna solid shape, and then I'm just gonna zoom in so you can see a bit closer. And I'm gonna change this color back to red so we can see exactly what we were doing. So now we can see that the shape is not completely inside of the box, which is what I'm going for. And we can see that there is a space. There's no like a slight space. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight both shapes, which we're gonna click on one and then press shift on the keyboard, and then we're gonna group. So in this effect, when you press group, you can see that we actually cut away the shape based on the shape that was inside. So we could do that again. We could go back and fix the shape. If I want to remove that side piece here, I could scale the shape a bit in, and then I could toggle around, move it around a bit more, change the scale, so keep just scaling it to feel liking, and then I'll bring it out a bit, down a bit more, and then it's better. So what I'm gonna do is highlight the solid shape first and then the transparent one, and I'm gonna press this up here, group, or you can press Ctrl G if you're on a Mac, sorry, on a Windows, and you press, and then it will cut away the shape, and then you have a perfect shape missing one side, like a Cookie Monster something eats it or something. So now we're just gonna move this a bit back, and we're gonna try it one more time, and we're gonna use the box, drag the box on the screen, and we're gonna use a sphere. So we're gonna change the sphere from solid to hold, and we're gonna scale it up. So we're gonna scale it a bit. And move it in. Scale it down a bit. And we're gonna check to see if it's coming through just the way I want it. Do some more scaling. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that is fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the grouping function again. So what we're gonna do is highlight the square, sorry, and then the sphere. And then you can see both of them are highlighted. And then we're gonna press group. And now we can see that we have some holes based on the sphere that we put in. You can see the holes that it created, it cut away. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna highlight the shape and we're gonna try ungrouping. So this one is ungroup, which is Control Shift and G if you're on a Windows. So just click on this, and then we can see the shapes again. So in order for us to get the cutout effect, the holes in the square, we can press the group function, which is this one. So we can press group, and then we can see the holes appear again, reappear. So with this one, we could also bring back the cylinder that was used to remove the cutaway, add the effect of cutaway. So we could go on top using this box. You can see how it is. And then we're gonna click on ungroup, and you can see the cylinder again. When we press ungroup, the cylinder disappears and we have a half of a circle, sorry, within the square. So that's one way of using, well, that is how you use the grouping function. And you could group and ungroup, so you add in the effect. You could also, and if you don't want to create like a whole cutaway, you could just group it so you can move everything together. We're gonna go back in. We could add a box, and we could add, let's say, a cylinder. And let's say we want to group this, so when we move one, both of them move. We can highlight both of them and then press group. So when we move in one, we could do, so you can see, sorry, the color of the shapes are the same, So that will show you that they're together, like they're joined together. So we could, when we're doing the rotation, you can see that it rotates together. It rotates together, and we could scale it up together. So instead of doing it separately, you could do it together. So scale big, small, and we could do an angle. When we're moving them, we can move them together, move them back, we can move them forward, and then this is what you do. So what we just so in summary of using a grouping, we can use two different shapes to create the cutaway effect. So we can use a solid shape and a hole shape, and we can use it to create a cutout, like I said, with the holes in the shape. We could use it to make a specific shape that we want to use effects. We can use the grouping function to group more than one uh, shape together, so we can move it together, we can rotate it together, scale it together, which makes it easier when you work with more than one shape and you needed to do the similar or the same action. And this is how we do it. So the next function that we're going to use is the mirror function. In order to do this, we need to have more than one shape on the screen. So I'm going to just put this one here, another box, and I'm going to put drag and drop another box on the scene. So now we should have 3 boxes on the scene. I'm just going to move them a bit. Yeah, in the middle. So what we're going to do is highlight all 3 of the boxes. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 of them. And I'm just going to change the scaling a bit. Yeah. And then I'm going to click the mirror function. So with the mirror function, whatever I do to one, it's going to do to all of them because they're all together. And whatever the mirrored function just means whatever is done to one will automatically be done to the next one. So if you rotate it, the next one will be, all of them will be rotated together. So let's try that now. So I'm going to rotate it on the 90 degrees angle. And you can see that all 3 shapes moved. You can put it up. Oops. Let me go back. Then we're going to just pull it up. So you can see that all of them moved in the same direction. Worksheet. Drag and drop a solid box and a circle with holes on work plane. Move, rotate, and scale the circle. Move the circle in the box. Group the shapes together, creating holes in the box. Duplicate or repeat shape 5 times that were created from the previous steps.